8 billion people stand shoulder to shoulder. A single signal sounds, everyone jumps. The entire human population leaves the ground at the exact same moment. Gravity pulls back. For a fraction of a second, the Earth feels a collective push. Then the inevitable descent begins. Gathering this many people is the first problem. Everyone fits within a small portion of the United States. The crowd is a sea of flesh and fabric. Logistics are a nightmare. The air smells like desperation and old sneakers. People are crushed in the center of the mass. This isn't a sporting event. It is a planetary experiment in collective kinetic energy. The sheer volume of humanity creates its own local weather system. Newton's third law dictates that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. As humans push down to jump, the Earth is pushed away. The planet moves, however the mass of the Earth is 6 sextillion tons. Human mass is negligible. The Earth shifts by a distance smaller than the width of a single hydrogen atom. This movement is practically zero. The orbit remains unchanged. The moon doesn't notice. The stars don't flinch. Physics is brutally indifferent to human ambition. You have effectively moved the world by a distance that is mathematically insignificant. The effort was immense. The result is an embarrassing rounding error. The planet barely felt the tickle of 8 billion tiny feet. The jump was a failure, but the jump is not the problem. Gravity is a patient creditor. It always collects. Now 8 billion people are falling back down. This is where the physics stop being boring and start becoming an existential crisis. The descent is brief, then comes the impact. 8 billion bodies hit the surface simultaneously. This creates a massive synchronized shock wave. In the crowded zone, the pressure is immense. The ground doesn't just vibrate, it compresses. Kinetic energy converts into heat and sound. A deafening roar echoes across the hemisphere. The shockwave travels through the crust like a ripple in a pond. Because everyone is concentrated in one area, the force is not distributed. It is a concentrated hammer blow to the Earth's lithosphere. Local soil liquefies instantly. Buildings collapse not from the jump but from the sudden violent oscillation of the ground. The energy released is equivalent to a medium-sized earthquake but focused entirely on a single crowded coordinate. It is a symphony of structural failure. The air is pushed outward in a sonic boom of human impact. The shockwave doesn't stop at the city limits. It radiates. Seismic waves tear through the mantle. This sudden jolt triggers unstable fault lines thousands of miles away. In Japan, the ground heaves. In California, the San Andreas Fault decides it has had enough. The Earth's crust is like a cracked mirror. One hard hit in the center makes the edges shatter. Dormant volcanoes wake up from a 1,000-year nap. Magma surges upward, fueled by the sudden shift in pressure. The oceans respond. A massive displacement of water creates mega tsunamis. Walls of water 300 feet high race toward every coastline. These waves don't just flood cities, they erase them. The atmospheric pressure fluctuates wildly as the collective impact pushes a column of air into the stratosphere. Weather patterns collapse. A global windstorm ignites, carrying the debris of 1 billion ruined homes. The planetary balance is gone, all because of a synchronized leap. The Earth didn't move in space, but it broke in place. Chaos is now the only constant. The surface is a mosaic of lava and saltwater. The atmosphere is choked with volcanic ash. Sunlight vanishes. The global temperature plummets into a sudden artificial winter. Plants die. The food chain evaporates. The survivors are those who didn't join the jump. They watch from the sidelines as the world ends. The irony is palpable. The goal was to move the Earth. Instead, the Earth moved everyone. Tectonic plates grind together in a frenzied dance of destruction. Entire continents shift by a few inches, which is enough to snap every bridge and pipeline on the planet. The electrical grid vanishes in a burst of sparks. Satellites continue to orbit, filming a brown, smoking marble. The silence that follows is absolute. The roar of 8 billion people landing has been replaced by the hiss of steam and the crumbling of mountains. Evolution takes a giant step backward. The survivors start fighting over the remaining cans of lukewarm beans. The planetary ecosystem has been reset to the Hadean eon. The only remaining structure is the memory of a very loud noise and a very short flight. The experiment is complete. The conclusion is clear. Humans cannot move the planet, however, humans are exceptionally good at breaking things. The Earth survived the jump. The civilization did not. The combined force of humanity was not enough to shift a world, but it was plenty to trigger a global apocalypse. The lesson is simple. If you want to move the Earth, do not use your legs. Use a very large rocket or a very small black hole. As the ash settles, the final consequence arrives. The insurance companies meet. They determine that a synchronized global jump constitutes a willful act of negligence. Your claim for property damage is denied. You are now legally responsible for the destruction of the crust. The planet is gone, but the curiosity remains. What happens if we try to blow up the moon with a giant laser? Subscribe to the What If Club for more.